Hello, welcome to my channel. This lot is pretty busy. Look at all those people over there and more people arriving. Pretty crazy. So today I'm gonna ride the co-op bike. I'll probably take it on whimsy to see how it jumps too. That's why I'm at this trailhead, because this isn't too far from whimsy. Yeah, let's see how this thing rides. I mean, looks sweet. Let's do it. Okay, here we are on the co-op bike. It's a little bit of drizzle coming out of the sky. So this is the co-op DRT 3.2. I have no idea what REI plans to do in the future with these. This one's, I want to say, almost 2 years old. So a little about this bike. It's a 66-degree head angle and I believe a 75-degree seat angle, so it's kind of like in that sweet spot before you get to the really aggressive stuff where seat tube angles are in the 78 degrees or something like that, and head tube angles are 65 and under. And for me, I might like that. I'm actually not a huge fan of these super slack bikes. I think they're great if all you do is downhill, but for like most of this kind of riding, we'll see. I'll let you know. The only change on this bike from stock is a little higher rise handlebar. So I think it's a 30 millimeter spank spoon or 35 millimeter. I can't remember exactly, but they're way more comfortable. And I like how flat the spank spoon bars are. I personally don't like a lot of sweep. So, yeah, so far so good. I definitely like how it feels here on single track. Oh, and if you're curious to know the suspension, it's 140 up front, 130 in the rear. So kind of more like a trail bike. I don't think I would quite classify this as an enduro bike like my Ibis Ritmo AF. All right, let's get to the ride. I stopped to look at the tire because I forgot what it is. It's a Ranger 2.8. These are the light ones, TCS light. Durability could be an issue. We'll have to see. The tread pattern is way less aggressive than most tires, but for hard pack dirt, I really like these. I had these tires on a previous bike and I really liked them. Wow, this bike climbs way easier than my Ritmo AF. And it's actually really solid. Like, it doesn't bounce up and down or anything. Wow, my honest opinion here, I always give honest opinion. This bike is seriously underrated. I don't know why nobody's really talking about these, because it is sweet. Curious to know who makes it, because you know REI doesn't manufacture bikes. The bobsled has all been redone. It's so sweet now. And this bike, I have a feeling after riding it for a little while that it is gonna love this. Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. Of course, gotta keep in mind we've got some rain, so everything's really nice and tacky. It was pretty loose before. Oh my gosh, it jumps like a dream. I had my first big jump on it. Oh, What? Wow. So fun. Yeah, totally a blast. Oh my gosh. Thanks. Whew. Made it. Oh, almost cleaning this whole thing on my first try on this bike. Maybe. Yep. Nice. Well, it does technical. Okay, we're gonna approach whimsy here. I love it. But here we go. Testing the climbing. Right up this rock garden. I'm staying on the rocks. Look at that. Solid. Alright. I got a lot of climbing ahead of me to get to the top. Whew. Okay, I'm gonna ride this on whimsy. I'm gonna treat it just like I would the Rip Moaf. I'm gonna hit that right line gap, land into the rough rock garden, and just ride it out and hit everything, including the downhill gap thing. I'm gonna work on my row anti-row and, you know, hitting things at a little bit slower speed. I have a feeling this bike's gonna really shine with that style of riding because it pops. So let's do it. Enough talking. Shad, stop with all your yappity yap yap and just ride. Okay. What? Oh my god. Oh my goodness. This bike. Wow. Even the hip. Oh. And hitting those turns. Wow. This bike is so fun. I feel like I'm gonna finally apply my BMX skills. I need 27.5 bike. It's a little smaller. Ripmo, bit too much. All right, here we go. I wasn't going as fast as I should have been on that. Oh well. Oh yeah. Woo. Oh. Woo. Oh. And it manuals like a dream. Wow. All right. Time to talk about this a little bit when I get back to my truck. All right. That was awesome. Thank you. Have a good one. it's so much dripping from my helmet. Okay, so my final assessment on this bike, the REI Co-Op bike. I actually made a mistake in my geometry when I was riding. This is actually a 67 degree head angle, and I'll put text in there when I said 66 to correct it. And then 75 degree seat angle, which I had correct. The reach on this, I want to say 450 millimeters, if I remember right. This is a medium. This bike fits me really well. It's like I can manual it, I can pop it, jumps really well. I love this bike. Really what this is telling me isn't so much that the REI Co-Op bike is for me, although I do like riding this more than I like riding my Ripmo AF. My Ripmo AF was great out west in Colorado, bombing down Trestle Bike Park, but for everything else, I think this bike is way better for me. 27.5 wheels. The Ripmo's got 29 wheels. I think that for me, I need something a little smaller, a little more compact, a little bit more throwable, things like that. Two parts that have changed on this since stock is it has spank spoon 40 millimeter rise bars, and it has a wide ergon saddle versus the narrower saddle that came stock on it. But no, it's a sweet bike. The suspension works really well. I would stand and climb, like I felt natural standing and climbing, and it was solid, which I'm not used to on full suspension bikes. Usually seated and climbing, they have it all figured out where you won't have that bob, but the moment you start standing and climbing, full suspension bikes will start to kind of bob on you. This one did not. It was solid. So I don't know what kind of suspension linkage design this is, but whatever it is, it's pretty good. I like it. So I also do like the DW link. That's a really good design, but I do have to say that one's a lot more open. So when I'm standing and climbing, the Ripmo just kind of bobs up and down, and it's not as pleasant. You don't feel like you're getting as much power out of it. But this bike, standing and climbing, was great. Seated climbing was great. It's a really good climbing bike, and it jumped really well, descended really well. So my take on this for me is that I don't like the super slack head angle thing that's going on in the bike industry right now. The Ripmo AF is like a 64.9 head angle, and it feels too slack. It's too sluggish, and now bikes are even going more or lower angle than that, 63, 64. That's just way too slack. That's great if you're bombing down hills out in the mountains, you're doing 30, 40 some miles per hour. I get it. I get why you want that slack head angle. But for everything else, for 80-90% of all other mountain biking, 67 to me is a sweet spot. My Esker Hayduke is a 67.6. This is a 67, and I love it. It's like you just barely kind of lean, you just kind of, and the bike just wants to rip into the corner. You don't have to fight the bike to get it in the corner. Slack bikes, when you want to rail a turn, you gotta just lean the bike, and it's like, yes, you can do it. It's not about whether you can do it or not, but it's the amount of effort. Like, you have to really just throw the bike around and really make an effort to make turns on these slack head angle bikes, as where 67 just rips right into corners. I love how that feels. It's like driving a sports car rather than a truck, right? What I feel like, to be honest, is the bike industry has gone into this way extreme, super slack head angles, long and slack, and all this stuff. And it's almost like they've converted like mountain biking into motocross or something. The guys are all like, oh, I'm doing these whips and everything. And there's nothing wrong with that, but that's only a small slice of what mountain biking is. There's a whole nother world of mountain biking that doesn't involve all of that. And I love jumping and I love airing it out and all that stuff. This bike jumps nice. It jumped like a dream today. I could throw it around, I could lay it out, I could do all that stuff. It was really awesome. So I really like this bike. So I'm in the market for something like this. So the bike I think I can compare this to, that I really liked before when I rode it, was the Salsa Pony Rustler. And that was the now they just have the Rustler, I believe, and it has I think it has 29-inch wheels. I don't know if it's 27.5 or 29, but the Pony Rustler, which was a few years ago, had this setup. It was 27.5 plus tire, so 2.8. I really hope the plus trend doesn't just totally die and go away. I love plus bikes. They just have so much traction, and you know, I just really like how they ride. But it seems like that's no longer, especially on full suspension bikes, you just don't see it much anymore. So there you have it. Sweet bike. I see people bagging on these because they're REI Co-Op bikes and whatever, and they just make this assessment that this isn't that great of a bike. It's a bunch of BS. They're just a bunch of younger kids or younger riders that they've never ridden this bike. They don't know all that much about bikes. They think they know everything, but they don't really know that much. And they'll be in there making comments. Oh, get a commensal. Oh, get this. Oh, get that. Blah, 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 blah. It's like, no. They did their homework. I don't know who made this for REI or any of that. If somebody knows, you can put it in the comments. But it is a well thought out bike. I don't know what kind of suspension this is. I promised I would kind of show it, but whatever it is, it works really well. I can climb standing on it. It's a pretty sweet deal. So there you have it. Take it for what it's worth. If you're interested in one of these, they're really hard to get. I know REI probably think they quit making the 3.2, but now they make a 3.3, so it's got even a little bit better components on it. But if you can get one, they're a sweet bike. Just a little over $3,000. That's not a bad price these days. Okay, cool. Thanks for supporting my channel. Please like and subscribe. Peace.